This is forgive me if I stutter in this discussion, because I haven't written out a script for it, and when I don't write out scripts for things, I do tend to stutter because my brain is trying to when I have things written down, I know exactly what I'm going to say, so I just read from what's written down and I don't stutter. When I'm trying to make it all up as I go along, I'm sort of the stuttering is the result of me trying to improvise. Really, that's. But the subject of this discussion is why being middle-aged is so much better than being young. Maybe a lot of people say it's the other way around, but I don't think that way. It's because being a teenager and growing up in the world the way it is can be very difficult, and it's not as hard when you're middle-aged as what it was when you were a teenager or when you were in your 20s. It's because growing up is hard, but being grown up isn't as hard. And people usually live with their parents until people don't get married as long as what you used to nowadays, and they stay at home living with their parents for longer because very often that is what the parents think is best for them. That was what my parents thought was best for me. They thought they didn't think I was able to. They thought I had limitations. They thought I might find it difficult to pay the bills, or whatever. And I lived with my mum, with my mother, for as long as what I could do, really. But in the end, it just got where I couldn't live. She had to go into hospital with a second stroke. Then from there, she had to go into a nursing home, and that was where she died. But I've been living on my own since I was 45. It was nearly 46 when I started living on my own. She didn't want me to leave me in the house on my own. But when she had to go into hospital, so she had to put me. She had me put in expensive respite homes, and by expensive, really, they cost hundreds every week for me to stay in there. And my uncle says the reason for these for the high prices you have to pay in these places is because social services are short of money, and if you make use of their services, that's why it costs you so much, because they're short of money. I mean, recently, I had a carer coming in to be flat 2 days a week, but now it was actually her idea. It wasn't even my idea. I've cut it down to one day a week now, because she thought I was too able for her to keep coming in 2 days a week, and she was the one who was getting paid for it. So she must be right. I mean, she wouldn't. She says, I don't know why you why she was marveling me about having whether I paid my bills to Archangel Care or not, and she says, I said, don't worry about it, it'll get paid. Which is, I don't know why you bother having me, why you keep coming me keep having me coming in anyway. And I can't enjoy this. I can't believe she just said that. She gets paid for coming to me flat, and yet she's actually saying that she doesn't. I don't need her anymore. And it's actually on her advice that I've cut it down to one. I only have you coming in 1 day a week. And how I came to get involved with this Archangel Care, I tell you what happened. My mother had a second stroke when I was 45, and she went into hospital. She went into hospital with it, and she was in a terrible state. I said in another discussion. That when her sister-in-law and her sister-in-law and her sister-in-law's son and daughter-in-law went to see my mother in hospital. She was in just such a terrible state that she said, my Auntie Jean said to her son and daughter-in-law, get me out of here quick. She couldn't even bear to stay in there because she was just lying on the bed incoherent with her mouth open, I think. She said, and she got a bit better, but not much. I mean, she couldn't walk and she could hardly talk. That's the gospel truth. She couldn't walk and she was barely able to talk. And the last time I ever saw her, she didn't seem able to do either, because I was trying to have a conversation with her and all she was doing was just lying on the bed, not saying anything. She didn't even say one word. And anyway, I went into this respite home called Lethbridge Green. Well, when she was in hospital, my social worker came to see me and said, "You don't have to stay in here if you don't want to." I said, "Wow, I'm not going to stay in here." She says, "If you want, you can go back in living in your mother, and stay in your mother's old house." And it won't be your house, but you can just stay in there while your mother's in hospital. And I thought, yeah, I'll do it. I'll go back there. She says, you'd have to have carers coming in every day. Well, it didn't cost me anywhere near as much to have carers coming in as what it did for me to stay in this respite home. So I thought, yeah, I'll do it. And I saved myself a lot of money. And I remember the first time I went to bed in after the first day I went back there, and it seemed strange just going to sleep in the house with nobody else there, because it was the first time I'd ever done it. I'd never done it before. Every time I'd gone to sleep in the house prior to that time, my mother had been in the house somewhere. And I feel it was really strange doing this. And as time went on, I just got used to it. And I had carers coming in less and less as time went on, and now I've cut it down to 1 day a week. I'm saving myself a fair bit of money. And when this guy who works for Archangel Care, I rung him up and asked him, can we cut it down to 1 day a week? And he didn't argue with me. I said I've discussed this with Joanne, and he just said, yeah, fine, cut it down to 1 day a week. I thought he was going to argue with me. I don't know exactly who the money goes to. I think. I don't know whether he's the one who gets paid from the visits. I think he probably gets paid by social services, and so social services get paid from the visits that you have from these carers. And so he didn't argue with me when I wanted to cut it down to 1 day a week. I thought you might be a bit. Oh, I thought I might have a bit of a difficult time with him, because it probably doesn't mean less money for him. So everything's geared around money, you see. What? And anyway, I'm 50. I'm 52 now, and I've been living on my own since I was 45. And I just, it's like the greatest feeling in the world, because no one's worrying about you, really. No one's concerned about you. It's like I've always had something a bit wrong with me ever since I was born, really. And it's resulted in me being picked on, bullied, by my schoolmates, by all the kids. Oh, I'll get onto that in part 2. And it's also resulted in my parents, but mollycoddling me a bit. And as I've said in the previous discussion, my mother had her first child aborted, and I think it affected the experience affected my dad in some ways, really, because when you've lost your first child, you can sort of mollycoddle your second child a bit, and maybe overprotect them. That's how it can affect you. And it's hard growing up, because when you're being a bit different from everybody else, because you're not accepted by your schoolmates. They don't want to be friendly towards you. They just pick on you. And also you've got your mum and dad mollycoddling you as well, and because they think that's the best thing for you, and it's hard. Now I don't feel I've just put all that behind me. I don't. No one's bullying me. No one's mollycoddling me. I can just come as I go as I please. I'm only having a carer coming in 1 day a week. I've had to go at learning to drive. Well, I've had to go at learning. I've probably persevered with that too long. If you look at me discussion of Asperger's syndrome and driving, you'll see that how that's gone. It's just I've never been able to drive on my own, because I never been able to pass my test. No one's ever put me in for my test. And I've just bought a car and had my mates driving round with me, and I've had an accident. So, but have a look at if you have a look at the discussion on Asperger's syndrome and driving, you'll find you'll find that you can hear more details about that. Anyway, in part 2 of the discussion, I'll get into the bullying bit and how that can be hard. Anyway, bye for now.